What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about Only Murders in the Building, Season 5, Episode 4. And yes, I know I'm a little bit behind, but you know what? I wasn't the one who decided to pull someone off the air and then trigger sort of a reaction where I stopped covering content from them, which means I wasn't bothering to watch certain content because why would I? I didn't know how long that thing was going to last. Uh, Sometimes people put their head in the sand and they just la 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 la. Um, I'm catching up once again on Only Murders. I had kind of caught up, and now I have to catch up again to Only Murders in the Building. So we're on episode 4 now. This is a pretty contained episode. Our intrepid three ended up surviving, getting out of that room, and discussing the events. They figured out that the missing finger was on Logan Lerman's hand. I did not remember these characters' names. The three that were introduced: Logan Lerman, Renee Zellweger, and Christoph Waltz. Uh, and then this episode also introduces a robot that is the new assistant for the building. Like, he's the new doorman. There's like a robot doorman. It's a gag that'll last all of like 5 seconds. But whatever. And so they're starting to uncover the plot and figure out and shoot their promo. And there's still this weird thing going on between Mabel and the where Thea, whatever she wants to be called, comes back down, and the robot is there and plays her music, and then gives like weird stats on where the Only Murders podcast is versus some other drunk sluts podcasts that she references. I don't know, man. I don't get it anymore. There's no way this girl's the killer. There's no way. If they make Thea the killer, this better be the best season of Only Murders in the Building, because they're going to have to write themselves out of like an asshole of a plot. This girl is not bright. I don't think she would be the least suspicious. I have her down at like chance 0%. Chance of being murderer 0%. I think that robot has a better chance of being a murderer than Thea, because like every time she's in a scene, I'm just like, why are you here? Like, how did you even get here? It's like, I feel like we did a version of this with Cara Delevingne's character from a couple seasons ago, but now we've just made her like more obnoxious somehow. This character, to interact with Mabel, so that we have some like generational gap. Next season she's got to have something completely different. We have to do something completely different. We have to give her a completely different vibe than what we're giving her. If you're trying to get somebody in her age range, I have no idea what, but I don't know, fucking Pete Davidson or something. I just, as himself, move Pete Davidson in there. But it has to give a completely different energy than these vapid girls that she keeps interacting with. So that happened, and we left, and I like Beanie, but her character is not helping this season for me. It was like a one-off gag, and now I'm getting more of her, and I'm like, oh god, is she just going to dominate the season? Because this is not a fun character to be around. She's she's a nice gag. Like, it was cute. We did one scene. Oh, she's back in the next episode. She didn't just come back for one more episode later on in the season. No, she's going to be around a lot. Oh, Jesus. So, our trio decides basically that they have to, well, also, okay, so out of that conversation, the important thing is that Mabel overplays her hand and says that they have this podcast deal that they don't have with a company, which means they're going to need to have one, which we'll play in later. So the three of them invite the three rich people from the club downstairs that they ran into to uh, I can't remember how they phrased it, but they didn't use the word dinner, but they invited them at 7 for something. I can't remember what it was, but then so these people arrive thinking that there's a dinner, and Christoph Waltz makes a joke about like there being servants. So they arrive one at a time: Logan Lerman, then Renee, then Christoph, and I know Christoph's character is named Bash because I think that's so weird. Uh, and so they're talking, and they each sort of give their own little tidbits on things. And then they make a decision to kind of split them up because there's three of them and three of our podcasters. So naturally they split up, kind of like last season where we had Eugene Levy, Zach Galifianakis, and Eva Longoria. Now we have these three. So Selena takes Logan Lerman on the basis that they're the young ones. And Martin Short walks off with Renee Zellweger, and that leaves Steve Martin with Christoph Waltz, and they go into the kitchen to try to put together the food. And Renee walks around the apartment. They takes a tour of Oliver's apartment, and just kind of makes fun of the horrible decor. And he's got like, I guess like a Waldorf and Statler thing, or from Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets. And she's like, oh, I get it, you're a theater director, so you thought I should put theater in here. And they end up talking, and they're trying to get this information out of them, but I didn't think anybody really got anything substantial out of anybody. But Mabel does the most out of trying to get stuff out of Logan Lerman, but they end up just sort of relating to each other. But all of it ends up being bullshit, which is kind of funny because they learn, she ends up opening up to him about the podcast deal, and then they leave, and then lo and behold, Mabel gets a podcast deal. But without reading their contract, they sign a contract, and their contract has a conflict of interest clause where they can't cover any of the people who are funding the podcast. And guess who's funding the podcast? The three that were just there are now the sponsors of Only Murders in the Building. So basically they do what they always do as business, and they just bought out their competition, their rivals, so now they own the podcast, which I guess could be financially lucrative for the three of them. But if they're trying to figure out who killed, I don't think they did it anyway. But yeah, last season we had a lot of misdirect. We had that whole, we went over with the Easties and the Westies. I don't think we ever used the term Easties, but I think we had the Westies. We had that whole other block of people, and it ended up being none of them. Remember, we were like going in and out of everybody's apartments, and like, oh, is it going to be Richard Kind? Is it, no? Is it, well, maybe it's Kumail Nanjiani. I don't know. Maybe he's the killer this season. Nope. Okay. Well, oh, maybe it's the weird one that lives on the other floor. Nope, not that one. So it ended up being like none of them. So I think these three are just a misdirect. I think they're big cast members who came in here. They might know something, and they might be slightly involved in one of the two deaths, because there are two deaths here. But they're not involved in the death of the first one, of the murder outside the building. I don't think either one of these murders were in the building. I think one of them was technically like in the courtyard, and the other one was in the dry cleaner adjacent to the building. I guess sort of in the, maybe technically in the building. I don't know how the thing looks, but it seems to back up to the building, so maybe technically that's, quote, in the building. So they might have murdered Bobby Cannavale, but they didn't. I don't think they murdered Lester. So that was basically the episode. Anyway, who do I think is the killer? None of the above right now. They also point out the fact that, interestingly enough, while Logan Lerman's missing a finger, he's not missing the right finger. The finger that's missing is from the wrong hand. So Mabel noticed and actually finally put together the fact that the hand that he's missing a finger from is not the same hand that the finger is from, that they're missing. I don't know how they know that, but they figured it out. They figured out that the finger is from the other hand, I guess, which is a weird, interesting fact. Uh, so people are just losing fingers up in here. I don't know. This is weird. Um, but yeah, I have a feeling it's just somebody else. I think what's interesting is we do still have Taya Leone, who seems to have opportunistically known when her husband died and where the husband, and asked these people to investigate. I think she might be involved. So I would lean on her more than anybody else right now if I'm picking somebody after this episode of where I think we're going. So that's what I got. Yeah, I didn't pick up that these three were. I think they're misdirects. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm leaning between somewhere in 8 and 8.5 this season. Eventually, I'll grade it at the end. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.